Welcome back to Off the Course, the podcast where founders who haven't made their millions yet come to tee up honest chats and actionable advice. I'm your host Hattie, and today I'm joined by Chelsea, founder of Elevarium. We're diving into leadership, burnout, and building a business that works for your life, not the other way around. Grab a coffee and let's get into it. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Off the Course podcast. Really excited to have you here. I feel like we've known each other for probably about a year now on and off, which is crazy when you think about it. So obviously I have Chelsea here today. We're going to dive straight in. Tell us about what you do, who you are, and how you've come to be on the podcast.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me. And you're so right. It feels like this has been such a long time coming. So I'm so excited to finally be here and chatting to you. So I'm the founder of Elevarium, which at the moment is like a business coaching and leadership development business. I have like long-term plans for it to become something a lot bigger than that. But at the moment it's like a staged approach, and I'm only one person, so I can only do so much at once. So
Business
right now,
problems.
yeah, I know, right? Classic. So right now it's business coaching and leadership development. But yeah, I mean, Hattie, I met you through TikTok, I think.
Yeah.
Or Instagram or something. I like discovered Orloon. And I just love what you do with Orloon and all those girls. So, that's how we kind of met and kind of just stayed connected on the socials that whole time, really. So yeah, that's how we ended up here, I think.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that when I look back and I think, God, some of my best friends are now from Orloon and have been made online and on TikTok. I guess it's just the world we live in now, really.
I know. The socials I think it has like so much taboo associated with it, but the community is amazing. I love it so much, through TikTok, Instagram, especially TikTok. I feel like everyone is, I don't know, just so supportive and connected. So I love
100%.
it.
I love that.
Yeah.
So how long have you been running Elevarium?
So Elevarium, I started about a year ago. And I started Elevarium a year ago, started kind of thinking about the idea a lot longer before that. But yeah, about a year now.
And how has it come about? What was your background? Have you kind of done this role with other businesses and said, no, screw that, I want to do it on my own?
Yeah.
Or what's your background?
Yeah, it's kind of funny actually. So I co-own a business back in Australia. So I live in London now.
Okay.
I moved here with my partner also about a year ago because we wanted to travel, and from Australia it's very inaccessible to do that. So, but I was fortunate that I co-owned a business there, a business that I had been a part of for almost 11 years now. I didn't come on as an owner until about 3 or 4 years ago, but over that time, I just developed, I had to go through my own leadership journey. And I remember when I very first started, I had no idea what I was doing. I was good at my technical job, and so I got promoted into these leadership positions, but without really any leadership training. There's that assumption like, oh, you're good at this job, so you can be a leader. It was so daunting. And just over that time, I went through my own leadership journey. I was also exposed to like the back end of running a business. I should also say I'm a psychologist. So previously my job was very front of house, meeting with clients, assessing clients. But because I joined this very small business at the time, I got exposed to all the back end stuff, and I was like, oh, I actually really love business and operating a business. And I became the operations manager and eventually a general manager and then a director. And I just went on this total journey, which kind of took me more and more away from like face-to-face client psychology work and more this back-end operations and HR and things like that. And I just loved it. So that's my background, I suppose. And then in terms of how I ended up with Elevarium, I always wanted an exit strategy from that business. Not to leave it completely. I'm still involved with it, just not on the day-to-day. But I wanted to make myself redundant. So did my co-owner, because we've been doing it for so long. And that was like a 2 or 3 year journey where it was a lot of work to make ourselves redundant. And we finally achieved that. But then I was like, what am I going to do after? After being in a role that I was so, I guess, independent in.
Yeah.
My boss became my co-owner, and, I didn't have someone telling me what to do. I'm like, I don't think I can go back and get a job. No way. No, I can't be an employee again. So, but I knew that it was really important for me to find something that I was truly passionate about and with purpose. I've done business coaching in my other business, as in I was the mentoree, and my business coaches taught me so much. And I really saw the value in having values and having purpose. And so it wasn't that I just wanted to find a business idea. I wanted to find what my purpose was, so that I was passionate about it, and I knew that that would be the thing that would drive me always in the business. And honestly, that took me a long time. It took me a long time, to the point where it was like frustrating. You know, I was like 2 or 3 years in, I'm like, I still don't know half what I want to do. I still don't really know what my purpose is. Like, what is it? And then one day I was like, you know what, just start a business.
Yeah,
Like,
just start something.
Just start something. And I did. I like started the process of like a streetwear business, which was so random. But I had seen all these like print on demand businesses that, you know, so easy to set up. And I'm like, I'm just gonna do that to literally, I know that this isn't gonna be my long-term thing, but I just wanna learn how to start a business from the ground up, because I hadn't actually done that like from the very start. And I did that probably for like 6 months. I literally got like logos made, like all this kind of stuff. I never got to the point of like manufacturing or anything. But in that process, I kind of realized I do know what my purpose is. Like, I'm actually so passionate about sustainable work practices. And it sounds random, because it's like, how did you get that from the streetwear business? It's, I guess, a culmination of like trying to think about all these ideas for so long. I just wanted to start something to learn, and I did that. But then through that process, I was like, you know what, the thing that I'm actually most passionate about is teaching people that like 9 to 5 is not the be all and end all. And because I'd cop a lot of flack for not working weekends anymore, or not working overtime. And it's like, I wasn't working hard enough because I wasn't doing those things. I was like, hang on.
How dare you?
I know, I'm like, I've worked so hard to get to this position.
Yeah.
And that's where I wanted to go. And I was like, actually, that's what I'm really passionate about, is like telling people off for that. And I wanted to teach people and educate people and use my psychology background to be like, there's actually better and more efficient ways of working for you and your life. And I was like, I need to start a business that's formed off of that. And then I have gone and, you know, combined, I guess, my business experience, the leadership development experience. And yeah, that's a really long answer to your question. So, but it really was this long kind of journey that I went on to find where I wanted to be, and so happy with where I have landed. So that is how I came to be with Elevarium, and why I'm doing it.
I think it's so interesting. I mean, there's so much there, but it's the psychology side of it. You know, we see online there's a lot of business coaches and business mentors and leadership mentors. There's a lot going on. And I feel like without that protected term, it's very similar to sort of nutritionist and dietitian. Yes. Anyone could be a nutritionist, dietitian's protected, and esthetician, and all of that. And I feel like business coaching is the same thing. I, in essence, could set up a practice and call myself a business coach. So I think having the psychology background must kind of almost give you that edge and the real understanding. I was listening to a podcast. It was actually Grace Beverley's, I think, the other day, and they were talking about burnout, and she had a psychologist on there talking about kind of similar vein of how do you juggle everything and not feel selfish, because like a lot of entrepreneurs, we thrive off the panic and the drama, and when you take that away, we all kind of go, oh, what now? So do you find that people come to you because of the psychology side?
Yeah, I definitely find that I attract, and I'm glad that I do, I tend to attract people who are burnt out or who are really struggling. You know, they've started a business maybe recently or maybe years ago, and they're now just feeling a bit lackluster, like feeling lost, feeling burnt out. Yeah, the psychology, I guess, like the therapeutic experience I've had helps with that. Not that I provide people therapy, but like just, you know, helping them kind of get through those times. It really helps. But also having been through those exact experiences myself more than once, I think helps. But yeah, I definitely tend to find that people come to me, especially when they're burnt out and feeling a bit lost, or like they don't really know what their why is or their purpose or anything.
And I think when you start a business, you think you have this really clear vision of why, and you get all the other, let's be honest, shit that's thrown on top of you, and that becomes really murky. I did a series a little while ago, and I'd love to kind of get your opinion on this, about I was feeling burnt out in that it was showing through my skin. I wasn't able to focus. I lost. It wasn't just losing motivation, because I think as a business owner, you can lose that daily. You still work through it. But I just lost the love for everything that I was doing. And I was trying to document it and just show everyone. But what are the signs of burnout that maybe aren't so obvious? Because I feel like it's this term that's just thrown around these days, when actually
Yeah.
I just need a really good nap.
Yeah, absolutely,
It's
absolutely.
hard.
So I know I actually just made a graphic on this on my LinkedIn the other day, because this is such a like important thing. I try and teach people about, like, think about it in terms of like green zone, yellow zone, red zone. Green zone is your optimal zone, you're happy, you're calm. Yellow zone is where you are starting to see those signs. And that's where I think something that people miss a lot is trying to be in tune with your own feelings and your emotions. Like, notice when you're getting brain fog. Notice when you're getting that like fuzziness, like, oh my God, I just can't keep going. Because what we are conditioned to do is push through that because of the 9 to 5 culture. You know, you get to like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon and you're like, oh my God, I can't do anymore. But
Yeah.
you have to, because you have to work until 5 o'clock.
Yes.
So we're used to doing that kind of thing and pushing through. But that's when you should pull yourself up on a daily basis. If you start to feel that fuzziness, that's just on a daily basis. You know, listen to yourself, give yourself a good break. And then if you feel good to come back, then do it. Then you can. This is obviously a luxury of self-employment, but also, I guess, on a bigger scale, definitely, like you said, like that fatigue and just starting to wake up feeling in the morning unmotivated. And again, I think it's listening to those signs really early on, because we tend to ignore them for so long until it's too late. And really, you've got to take the action a lot earlier than most people should, really.
Yeah, I think it's so hard, and you get that founder's guilt that
Yes.
if you're not doing it, it won't get done, and you're trying to be the best. And I think social media is an amazing tool, but I think it provides that, it kind of makes that pressure worse, because there's always, you sit there ready to go, oh, I'll have a break, and doom scroll, and you see everyone else doing it, and you think, oh God. Like Monday morning, Harriet is a very different person to Thursday afternoon. For some reason, Thursday afternoons just kick me, and I just can't get, in the game ready. But come Saturday morning, I'm like, oh, let's go again.
Yeah, exactly. And they're the exact kind of things to listen to. And I still feel bad. And I guess because I've only had Elevarium for a year, like the early stages of setting up a business is, I think, the most hectic time of a business. There's so much to do. You're only one person. You just can't possibly do it all in a day. I constantly feel bad because I don't do 8 hours in a day. But I also know that, say I only do like 4 hours, I know that in that time, the work that I've done has been so cognitively demanding that, if it was a job that I was really familiar with, I've been doing this for years, maybe, that 4 hours isn't that big a deal. But when you're doing something new and novel, like, starting a business, you're constantly learning social media, like editing platforms, like video editing or picture editing, Canva, like, as well as all these like new AI software. Like, there is just so much going on. Like, I created a website recently. Oh my God, that was absolute. That was hell. Like, you're doing such cognitively demanding stuff that you really do have to listen to yourself and give yourself a break and be like, man, if I have to stop after 4 hours, that's fine. And maybe I don't go back to work again until I just feel good again. But I know that in that 4 hours, I have given my all, and I've done way more than, if I was maybe in a 9 to 5 and trying to drag it out of 8 hours or something.
I do think it's really tough for that balance. And I'm exactly the same. Some days, like you say, I can sit in this office. Mondays, I start the week and I am so ready. And I probably end up doing this kind of completely wrong, or I don't really know. And I'm like, I go. And I can work 14 hours straight. It's not unusual for my partner to come home and be like, have you left your desk yet? And I'm like, no, not yet. And he left at 7 in the morning and it's now 7 o'clock at night. But then on Tuesday, I work for the morning, and then the afternoon I go out onto site for a client, and I'm outside, and it works quite well for me. But it's really hard when people and friends, I think, that don't run businesses, and they're like, oh, either can you be free? And you're like, well, no, because I'm so laser focused. I need to maximize this. Yeah. No, I'm not. Or they're like, oh, you only work 4 hours a day. You're not doing much. And you're like, are you joking?
Exactly.
God.
Exactly. No, it's so rough. And that's that kind of, like, that's where my purpose comes from, is like kind of trying to school those people a little bit to be like, no, this is not the way that you're supposed to work. Like, you should be listening to yourself and just taking it a bit easy when you can. But yeah, it's hard to balance.
So in terms of clients for you, where does the kind of majority of your clients come from? Are you mostly kind of startup, that sort of stage, or are you a little bit further along, or are you more sort of big
Yeah.
conglomerates, or kind of everything in the middle?
I wouldn't say, definitely not big conglomerates, but I would say startup or established. I think most of the people that tend to come to me are reasonably established, as in like, 1 or 2 years in.
Yeah.
But I have also worked with a couple of people who are just starting out.
Right.
And I also love working with them because they're not burnt out, but they want to set up the foundations so that they have a really sustainable work ethic, I guess, and that their business is sustainable. Because one of my massive things is you need to set your business up to serve you and not the other way around. And so often, we kind of get that wrong, I guess, or that we just don't realize like, oh yeah, I've set this business up to work for my life, not for my life to work around the business. And so, it's so hard because it's such a balance. But yeah, the people who come to me who are in startup phase, that's kind of like, I love that as well, because I can really help with the like setting up the processes and operations, which I love. I get an absolute buzz from that. Yeah, so definitely either startups or the people who are a few years in or a couple of years in and they're like, where am I going? What am I doing?
Now?
Or feeling a bit burnt out.
And what does that discovery call look like? If I came to you and said, let's say I'm a year in, I'm a little bit lost, and we have, I assume, tell me if I'm wrong, we jump on a discovery call for you to learn a bit more.
Yep,
what are some of the questions that you ask that I might need to go away and think about myself or my business?
Yeah. So something and that's definitely what I do. I always do a complimentary discovery call because I also want to make sure that we click and that, I can help them and, that's ultimately what it's all about. But some things that I often get people to think about even before the phone call is I always want to know if they actually have like thought of their values or if they know what their values is, if they know, about finding your why and your purpose. Because I think being in this industry, sometimes I assume that, everyone knows about that, but there's actually a lot of people that don't realize that values and purpose is like so important and integral to business. So I think about that. But I guess the most important question is, what is the ultimate version of your future? What does that look like? Like, regardless of anything, what does the ultimate version of your future look like? And to me, that's the thing that helped me find my direction and my purpose. And I know it's helped a lot of other people as well, because that's how you start to look at how we can set your business up to serve you and not the other way around. And a lot of people haven't thought that deeply about it, or they haven't thought ambitiously enough. They'll kind of start on just some, I guess, surface level stuff like, oh, I want to be able to work from home or something like that. But I'm like, no, think big. Like, think if nothing else interrupted, what is the ultimate version of your future, like the best version of it? So that's probably the biggest question that I get people to think about.
So I was going to ask you a question, but I have another question, which is kind of off topic. Do you think there's a difference between people in the UK and people from, it's Australia, isn't it, that you've from originally? I can say I'm really bad with accents, and you're very Australian, but I don't want to say that with confidence, and you're like, I'm South African, and I'm like, oh my God.
I wouldn't take offense.
Oh, okay. I said it to this American. He was Canadian, and I thought he was American, and he was so upset. And I was like, I am genuinely really sorry. I'm not that well traveled.
No.
Because I think as Brits, we are just not that we're not ambitious, but we are so conscious of being kind to ourselves. Like for me, when someone would say, oh, what's the, the end goal for Orloon? I'd be like, oh, to help women, blah, blah, blah. That's not the end goal. I want Orloon to be the single one place that any woman starting a business can go to across the world for resources, support, networking, power, funding, grants, everything. Yeah. I feel so embarrassed to admit that to people and think they're going to be like, stupid idiot. So is there a difference, do you think?
Well, first of all, I completely relate to what you're saying in terms of people being like, okay.
Yeah, cool. Who do you think you are, Jeff Bezos?
I know. I hate that. I haven't really found a significant difference. Okay. I think the one thing I would say in terms of what people find with what people say in terms of ambition, I guess because Australia is so far away from the rest of the world, there's probably a lot more travel related ambition. Within that. Whereas, I think maybe over here, maybe it's taken for granted a little bit more. So maybe it's some other things that, people aspire to, but no, I haven't seen a huge difference. I think we're very similar, the Brits and the Australians in a lot of ways. So yeah.
No, I do agree there. I think there are a lot of similarities, but I think if you had this conversation with someone who did a similar role in America, I think this would be
Yes.
so different.
Yes, absolutely. They Americans, I find, tend to, and I've worked with a couple and that, like, love them, but they're so good at being really confident about
Yeah,
what they want. And
yeah.
like, I do think that we, both the Aussies and the Brits, we kind of like sit back a little bit and be like, oh well,
That's
this is
great
what
for
it
you.
is.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I'd like that too, but I won't admit it.
Yes, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
I
Yeah,
was reading this book the other day, and I can't remember the exact wording, but it basically said, like, if you ask a Brit to rate themselves, whether it's on looks, intelligence, anything, you could almost guarantee they will give you between a 7 and an 8. No
oh
Brit
yeah,
will ever admit they're a 10 or a 9 because it's too
yeah,
embarrassing, it's too showy. Even if
yeah,
it's about, like, how happy do you feel today, they will never say a 10. And
yeah,
someone went out in the world to test it and just asked loads of random Brits, rate
yeah,
your looks or rate this, rate
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Almost
yeah.
all said a 7 or an 8. And I just think, I'd do the same. Like, how do I
That's
think of
so
myself as a
funny.
person? 7.
Yeah, yeah,
My
yeah,
intelligence, 8. My looks,
yeah,
7.
yeah. No, I think that would be the same in Australia, except maybe some like certain areas where
Okay.
I won't say them, but
I will.
I think
I'm
that'd be,
assuming Bondi.
yeah.
Bondi Beach screams
How
more
did you
confident.
know? How did you know?
I can say because
Yeah,
mine's based off movies, so
yeah. No, it's pretty accurate.
brilliant. So my
Yeah,
my actual question that was more relevant, but I just had
yeah.
to ignore my curiosity.
No, love
In
that.
terms of your business why, there's that golden circle, isn't there, that a lot of business owners will know. It's talked about a lot online, but I really struggle with the difference between your why, your value, your mission, your purpose. Are they
Mm,
all different or are they all the
mm,
same, but
mm.
just
Yeah,
put a different way? Because I'm
yeah,
building a brand pack at the minute for Orloon, and the sort of template that I downloaded to help me run through it all, it had
yeah,
value, mission, and purpose all as separate bullet points, and I
yeah.
thought, well, shit, I thought that was the
I know.
same.
Yeah, I know. It does get confusing. First of all, why and purpose interchangeable. At least
Okay,
I use them interchangeable, and I think that that's pretty universal. Your why and your purpose can be, if they're different, it would just be wording, but that's
okay,
ultimately the same thing. Your why and your purpose, and that's what I guess having why or purpose is just what will keep driving you. Like, you're obviously passionate about what you stated before about Orloon, like it being the number one place in the world where everyone comes, which I love. And that is something that I can see that you're passionate about, and that is going to like drive you. But you need that purpose to push through the hard times,
yeah,
basically. When
okay.
things get challenging and the setbacks, you've got to have your why and your purpose to be like, it doesn't matter. I'm still continuing on
On
because
Thursday afternoon.
I'm so passionate about that purpose. Your values are your internal compass. So your values should direct you in terms of like how you make decisions in the business, even in your life, but you can have like different business and personal ones, but often they overlap. But they're really I guess guide your behavior, your actions and
Okay.
decisions in terms of how you want to respond to things or how you deal with something. It's like a classic one is like integrity. Like if you've got a value of integrity, you're always going to act, you're always going to do the right thing even when no one's looking, type thing.
Yeah,
Whereas if integrity isn't a value for you, maybe you operate a little bit differently. But most people have, I guess, kind values, but yeah, your
yeah.
values, your internal compass that drive those decisions. Your mission is, I guess, more your what, like what are you doing and how are you getting there.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a little bit more directional, as to like it also describes like the end point that you're getting to. Like in fact, what you said before is like your mission. Like this is where we're going to be the
Okay.
number one. So yeah, it's confusing, and I always find like writing those kind of things out as well is really tricky. Like I
Yeah.
still even struggle with it. But yeah, your purpose is what is like absolutely driving you. Your values are your internal compass, and your mission is like kind of what and how you're getting there.
I like that. No, that does make more sense. It is. It's really hard, and like you said, I think to sit down and put up pen to paper. I worked for a business years ago. It was at a gym. It wasn't national. It was kind of Midlands sort of area spread out across
Yeah.
here. And they had a company wide meeting with all the leadership team. And they had it was such a cool role. And I need to get back in touch with someone to see if I can be in touch with the person who did it. But basically, they were a business psychologist, but an artist too. So
Cool.
they would go in and essentially, like an illustrator, and listen to the whole company, like 3-day retreats. and created like an illustration of like the core values, the mission, the purpose, all of these things into one big illustration. And then it was printed on, I don't even know if my arms can get wide enough of this screen, like this it honestly, it was like taller than me, great big long thing. And then they wrapped it around mugs, so we all had a mug with these little illustrations. And it was based, they were like, I was just a membership consultant, so not at the bottom, that's not how the company was run, but I was a nobody in the grand scheme of things. But it was based on our surveys, and everything that we had said had been put onto this mug and this illustration, and that became the company ethos and who we were at our core. And do you know what? That to me stands out against any business I've ever worked either with or for. You know, normally you get, you know, your company values are, like say, integrity and trust. And it doesn't, to me, that doesn't feel like anything new. So this illustration, I don't really know where I was going with this, but I thought that was really cool.
No, I love that. I really, really love that. I think of the three, I find the mission the hardest because you tend to have a lot of overlap. Like you kind of pull your values and your purpose kind of into that one as well. But it can be really powerful. And like you said, like if you had nothing else, say printed on a mug or something, like you'd almost probably have that, because it should kind of encompass them all in a way without repeating it all. But
So is that when, for example, if you're then going to hire somebody, that's when that kind of comes in? You want somebody, not necessarily the mission, but the values is the bit that you're looking for in hiring.
Yeah, definitely. You want to, it's not even just that I want them to have the values, I want them to connect with the values. And I mean, it's easy for people just to say, I connect with integrity and trust and reliability.
I believe in trusting someone.
But I think, you know, in a hiring kind of space, that's where you can do certain kind of, I guess, like testing and things like that. There are ways that you can kind of assess that. But you want them to truly connect with it, because you want the people in your business to be living and breathing your values. And on that point as well, I always talk a lot about how if you do have people in your business, because like you said, you know, values can kind of be flyaway things like, okay, trust, integrity, reliability, whatever, because most businesses do have ones and similar ones like that. I always say to people, if you've got staff, get them involved with the values, like have an annual review of the values and have people putting ideas in and like really actually being involved in the process. Because if you just have people come along and you tell them these are our values, they're like, okay, they're never going to really like connect with them, especially if they're not their personal values, which is fine. They don't have to be, but connecting with the values is so important, and there are ways to do that. But so important.
Yeah, no, I do think that's really true. Like I say, I've worked with businesses that have just said, here you go. This is now who you are. When you walk through that door, this is who you are as a person. I'm like, oh, good to know. Thank you. Okay.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. You're not going to be living and breathing their values just through being told.
No, definitely not. So what is one thing that if you had a megaphone that could, like a magical megaphone that could just talk to every single business owner in the world, what is like the one thing you would want to tell them all that they can do to help kind of elevate their business and their business running today for the next quarter? You know, we've just started a new quarter, haven't we? What is the one thing you would want everybody to know?
I would honestly ask them that question of, think about what does the ultimate version of your future look like? Start thinking about that. And it's not easy. When I was first asked that question, I was like, I don't know, like I want a house and a dog or something. Like it took a really long time to actually have that full answer materialize. And I really think start thinking about that. And it's not even business related. It's like, I mean, it kind of is. Your life and your business is interrelated, but really start thinking hard about what that ultimate version of your future looks like, because you want to then start aligning your business with that so that it serves your life. There's a that's not really a saying, a concept, I guess, called be, do, have, which means start being the thing that you want to be or where you want to be. And you will start naturally doing whatever is aligned with that, and then you will have that. So think of the vision that you want, that ultimate vision, and then it becomes a lot easier to act in alignment with that. So it's a little bit, it's a little bit like, you know, your values are an internal compass, but they're a more like daily thing, whereas having that long-term ultimate vision gives you more direction in how you're going to make decisions. And
it's almost like actual manifestation, isn't it? Rather than thinking about it, you're actually doing something to make that happen.
Yes, exactly.
I love that. So how do you then break that down? So if, we say that, for example, I want to be globally recognized and support women. I have just started a partnership with Women's Aid locally, but I want that to be across the world. How do you then break that down into your quarterly tasks? That feels like a really big.
Yeah, it does. And I mean, like my own plan, for example, is like a 10-year plan, but it doesn't have to be. It could be like, I know that if one of my previous business coaches would be like, but what if you wanted to do that in 2 years? But it is really working backwards of being like, okay, well, if I want to be there in 10 years, where do I need to be in 5 years and 4 years and 3 years and 2 years and 1 year? And also reviewing it because that's just me, myself, and I at the moment. I probably don't religiously review it every quarter. But for example, in my other business, we do reviews of our goals every single quarter to make sure that we are aligning with that long-term objective. And it's amazing, like, how much that really does start getting you towards that direction. Because you're like, oh my God, it's so far away, that goal. Yeah. But it starts happening quite quickly by, aligning those little bits and pieces along the way. So it really is just a matter of kind of working backwards, but also continuously reviewing, because your goals can change as well. Your vision can change, your goals can change. So you want to be able to pivot. But yeah, it's a matter of working backwards. And then the be do have, just start acting like you've already got it, being and acting like you've already got it. And, that's when things really start to change.
I think that's so handy, because you know what, it sounds so simple, put a time frame on it. That, I think, where I get very flustered, and I'm very much in the, like I say, I know what I want to achieve, but by when, don't know. So I've always found everything, I sit down and I try and write everything down, and quarterly and weekly, and I'm like, this isn't happening, but actually putting the time on it seems like a really simple way to do that.
I know. Look, I can teach all these things, but taking my own advice is like a total other thing. It is so messy, but I think always having that end goal in mind. Even if the like daily and weekly work looks like a crazy person, I am still always working towards that end goal. So I think having that ultimate vision is so important. Yeah.
I love that. No, like you say, I think that we get very wrapped up in the day-to-day, and there's that whole like busy fool or like productive something.
Busy work, yeah.
And I do sometimes sit here and I think, we did so well. Stop it. In. I have two. I have one noisy one and one quiet one. We were so close.
We did.
Just 5 minutes. Where was I? Busy fool, thing idiot. Oh yeah. There's some days that I sit and my partner comes home and goes, what have you achieved today? And I think, shit, nothing. And I've been so busy. I've been non-stop. Unbelievable. Let me just. Shut up. Get downstairs. Douglas, up, quiet. Get in. Everyone in then. To be fair, there was a DPD van.
I was going to say, was it the postman?
Yeah, we'll let him off. Come here, sit down and be quiet. There's just this random dog appear in the frame halfway through.
I love that.
Sit. Come on. Not faffing with you. I think it's so difficult to always be productive, and I do try and forgive myself a little bit if I've not been, but I do try and keep myself on track with it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I hate that feeling as well, and I have it more often than I care to. The whole get to the end of the day and I'm like, what have I actually achieved? Like, I've just been busy but haven't really gotten anywhere. And also I tend to flip between priorities. I'm like, no, this is a priority, and I'll start this, and then I'm like, no, this is a priority, and then I'll start that, and then I get to the end of the day and I'm like, so you've half started like 5 different things but haven't actually finished one thing. And that's usually my sign the next day where I'm like, okay, come on, sit down, write down your actual to-do list, the intentions, what is the actual priority, what have you got to complete before you even bother moving on to the next thing.
No, I don't think I've ever agreed with anything more in my life. I'm the same, and I'm like, I have 7 things, and I guess that's the problem with being a business owner. I have 7 things that are all a priority. I can achieve 2. Yeah. Pick 2.
Yes, exactly. It's so hard. It's so hard. People, I don't know. I think people overestimate how difficult, easy, I can't remember what way that goes, but just how hard it is to just stay on track and get something complete. When you're one person.
No, 100%. I heard once that being an entrepreneur is always choosing between the impossible decisions. And Yeah, it is. Even if it's not, life-changing or groundbreaking or
Yeah.
anything, it's still choosing between impossible decisions every day.
Exactly. And I have friends, family, whoever asks me, they're like, so how's your Instagram account going? I'm like, oh my God, don't ask me about my Instagram account. I'm like, yeah, like it's going, but like, I mean, look at it, but also please don't, because like I've been working on this website for 5 weeks or something, like, and I literally have not been able to pay that any attention. And, it's that kind of constant balance of like, oh, I have to focus on that and then this and then that. And of course, as you know, social media is such a huge part of running a business now. But, you know, if I ever go quiet on social media, it's because I'm finally in the zone of completing one of my other 1,500 priorities.
No, 100%. I hate the question. I know people are just trying to be nice, but how's business going? And you're like, well, frankly, it's terrible. Everything sucks all the time. And then I'll have one day where it's amazing and then it just sucks again. But no one wants to hear that. They want to hear, it's great. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, exactly. But for some reason, we love that.
Yeah, I just
Addicted
love
to the chaos.
being miserable.
Yeah, exactly.
So I would love to finish up with 2 questions I ask at the end of every podcast. There's an easy and a hard. Which would you prefer first?
The hard.
Hard, yeah. Most people go hard.
Yeah.
If there was, and not if, what is one thing that you don't currently know that you think you should know? Like, there's a lot of pressure on business owners to just know everything. That one day you decide to solve a problem and then you're automatically a pro. What is one thing that you think you probably should know, but you don't?
Okay, well, my end goal part of my end goal for Elevarium is to be a digital platform. Think of I was going to say YouTube, but that kind of minimizes it. It's not going to be YouTube, but it's going to be a digital platform where business owners or people who want to start businesses, it'll cater for different levels, come, and it's like a one-stop platform, but very accessible, not like executive level business coaching where you're charging $4,000 or anything. Yeah. I want them to have all the resources available because there's so much information out there. I want to synthesize it and, make it accessible and things like that. I have no idea how to build a digital platform like that. And that's my goal for Elevarium. So good luck to me.
Yeah, I do what? I may know someone who can help.
Right. See, this is why we do this.
This is exactly it. There's a woman who has literally just created, it is an app, but it's one of those apps that like goes onto your home screen. It's not in the app store, and then it runs like a website in the app in the first case, and then it will eventually become an app. But she's built that herself, so I can put you in touch.
Yeah, no, thank you. That's just, I'm so far away from it, yet that is like what I need to start doing. Yeah. So tricky. Definitely that.
Okay. No, I think that's such a good one. I like that one. Mine was like taxes. Yours was so much more interesting.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Okay. Your easy question. I give you a call and I'm like, hey, Chelsea, I'm 10 minutes away from meeting you. I'm going to stop by a coffee shop. What do you want? What am I picking you up?
A ham and cheese croissant and a soy cappuccino.
No one's ever asked for food before.
Really? Oh my God. Yeah. No,
I love that for you. I like that you drink coffee as well. So many young people don't drink coffee.
Oh, really?
Yeah, everyone's like, I don't really drink coffee. I don't have caffeine.
Oh, wow. I didn't when I was younger, but then I think once I got to, I guess uni is a normal time to start drinking it, but that's definitely when I started drinking it. But yeah, you can't operate without it.
I drank like the odd cup of tea, but then post like middle of uni when it started getting serious, I was like, yeah, caffeine, just any form will do.
Yes.
It's inside me.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No. I mean, power to the people who can do it without caffeine, but not me.
Yeah, it's not me. I'm not one of them. Like, you have your prize. I'll be fine.
Yeah.
Well, look, thank you so much for coming on. This has been so insightful, and I feel like I've learned a lot. Where can we find you if we want to come and get in touch? Yeah, so Elevarium, which was my first mistake, naming my business something that's difficult to spell, probably, but Elevarium all over. But you can also search my name, Chelsea Beagling, and I'm on TikTok, Instagram. The website is elevarium.com. Got the .com. Well done.
YouTube, LinkedIn, so all over the place.
We'll make sure to link you down below as well. But thank you so much for coming on. Best of luck, and I cannot wait to see what happens. I can't wait to see the app.
I know. Thank you so much for having me. It's been awesome. Thanks so much.
You're more welcome. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Thanks so much for listening to All In Off the Course, the space where women building businesses don't do it alone. If you loved today's episode, make sure to hit subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with a fellow founder who needs to hear this. I'm Hattie, and I'll see you next time.